Oh.
I'm awfully sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you.
Oh, it wasn't that. It's just that you're
A stranger?
Mm-hmm.
But don't you remember? We've met before.
We have?
Well, of course. You said so yourself. Once upon a dream.
I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you. The gleam in your eyes is so familiar a gleam. How y'all doing? It's true. Visions are seldom what they seem. But if I know you, know what you'll do. Hi everybody, missed you all. Missed you too, Evil Diva. Hello Omni, hello Cozy. Sweet Angel VT, lovely to see you. Now that we've gotten canceled by Disney, you know. Ooh, we're playing dangerous games here, aren't we? Cozy Core 123, Sweet Angel VT.
Okay, can I just...
Anyways, we're not gonna keep playing Disney songs because there's gonna be a point where Disney is gonna cancel my ass. They're gonna send their lawyer team. It's gonna be like, oh, I'm coming after your fucking kneecaps. But hi. Thank you. Keep forgetting first, second to Control Pink, and Violet Loon, aka Davanya. Thank you so much for getting third. How's everybody doing today? I have no clue what we're going to be playing today, or what we're going to be doing today. I should have probably figured that out, but you know, who expects me to be smart? Right? Oh, I'm sorry, Vanya. People in the Discord told me to start. Oh, actually, I need to get some water. 1 second. Right back. I apologize if you hear children screaming outside. God, I wish y'all could see this video. Wait, you know what? That's what we're starting with. We're gonna start watching this video. You're eating the children. Don't eat the children. They're cute. They're adorable. Hello from work? Well, say hello to your work from me. Tell your work that they should pay me. So, first off, everybody who said happy birthday to my dad this morning, thank you so much. I sent him the lovely messages, and he was all like, ooh, thank you, chat. He doesn't know who chat is, but you know, he was still like, my God, chat's cool. All right, chat, you gotta watch this music video with me though, okay? I'll let him know that more people said happy birthday. Okay, 1 sec. We're putting away the game. Do you like the new setup though? We have a little chat box down here now because it was asked for by a mod who was like, oh my God, I don't like... No, I'm kidding. I had been meaning to add one. But Vanya did request that I put one in, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. I should put one in by now. All right. You could really reconsider. Also, happy birthday, my dad. Thank you. Sweet Angel, you were here this morning, but I guess it's your first time talking, so welcome. I hope you enjoy your time here. Yeah. Boo. Okay, here we go. You can see yourselves. I know. Can you believe you can see yourselves? We're watching this together. I like this music video. It's so goofy. Watching this guy.
I saw a cute fluff ball at the coffee shop.
Chat, this is how I dance.
She said me or the dog. I said, whoa, quick wit. She said, pull up a chair. I've got 1,000.
I'm sorry, Chat. If you're expecting me to be able to dance well, this is how I dance.
She had me in stitches.
Just back and forth. Non-stop. We got so many. Oh, we do have a devil. Batosai the devil. Hello, Ursula. Good morning, or good evening. It depends on what time it is for you. And look at that shoulder action. There's a reason why guys in the band play in the band. Because we don't know how to dance. But we like watching other people dance. 5 p.m. Well, good evening. Barty. I can't Barty. But yes, I have no clue what we're doing today. He looks like he's trying not to shit himself. People who play in the band are in the band because they can't dance. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for the stretch. No, Void. We've just been listening to music. Exactly. But yeah. So, chat. I was talking to my dad before stream. And he goes, hey, your uncle's here. And I'm like, what? And he hands the phone to my little baby niece who's like 3 years old. She is adorable. She is cute. But the entire time, she's just rambling in a way that I can't understand. And I'm like, yeah? Oh, really? And she's just so excited to talk, and it's the cutest thing in the world. It does get to a point where she's just listing off cake flavors, though. She's like, yeah, I like chocolate. I'm like, is that your favorite flavor? It's like, and I'm like, I like coconut and peaches. And then my dad's like, what do you say? Like, and she's go peaches, and I'm like, oh, peaches. He's like, yeah. Anyways, bye. And then she just stops. She just stops mid-conversation, which is so fucking cute. But she'd gone there because since it's my father's birthday, my stepmother had made a cake. And so she wanted cake, but she couldn't get cake until my dad went to go get cake. And so she's like, are you ready for cake, Opa? Which she calls him Opa, by the way, which is granddad in German. And my dad's like, oh, I'm talking to your uncle. She's like, okay, but are you ready for cake? It's just so cute. It makes me want to have a little kid. I want to bring up a little kid, a little kiddo, and teach them all the cool stuff. I don't know. It seems I got the baby fever there for a little bit, and I was just like, that's so much money and so much effort, and I need to be dating or married to somebody before I can have a kid. But hey. Maybe I'll introduce her on stream. Maybe you guys can hear her cute rambling when I do my little just chatting when I'm off in another state. I want to have some kids in the future. I got you. I mean, I'll get to the point one day, where I find something in someone, but that's years out. Just have you permanently on stream. Do any of you play instruments? Have y'all ever done something like this? Where you just get a bunch of buddies together and do a jam session? This shit is so fun. I had this buddy, so I used to be in a band, chat. I'm just gonna non-stop talk. If you all want to talk about something, please bring it up and mention in conversations. But this is just making me want to ramble. I played bass guitar in a band a long time ago. It's been a while. And what you do is you and a bunch of buddies get together. Each one of you play a different instrument. You have the one buddy who gets super fucking high, can't play. It was hilarious. The drummer got so high he couldn't maintain a beat the entire time. He tried, but kind of struggled. And the guitarist and me carried it, and we just came up with songs and hung out and sang and sat by a fire pit for a while. Then I think we drove to a record store for some reason. I think we got like contact high. But it was a lot of fun. The good old days. Hey, PR Brox, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see if you win. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Drums. Chat, if I can figure out a way to do a virtual jam session, we should do it. How you doing, PR Brox? What is up? What is up? I mean, heck, maybe me and my dad will do something. Chat, who wants to start a band? Chat, who wants to start a band? I'm playing bass. I can do vocals and backup vocals, and then we can have somebody else who also does vocals. Boom, boom. I'm the rapper of the group. Hell yes, we're bringing back new metal, chat. We're bringing back new metal. What's the robot concert? Oh, Roblox? Roblox concert? I don't know what the Roblox concert is either. But we're gonna bring back new metal. Do a corn cover. do Limp Bizkit. I got the triangle unlock. Omni. Ooh, you got this. The Roblox incident of 1998. We need audience. We need audience. I don't know what we're watching right now, but it's kind of chill, actually. I vibe hardcore with this. Okay, what's next? We need fans. We definitely need fans. We need a manager. Oh, he's cute. We need somebody to be the instruments. Oh, to enjoy your sleeping, Evil. Mwah. I do listen to a little bit of everything. Y'all want to see the shit I listen to? I mean, some of it's gonna be... No, we'll keep it chill. I want to keep it chill. Hi, Spellax. Thank you for the lurk. I'll do it in the Discord sometimes. Sometimes we'll hang out in the Discord and I'll just go through all the music I like. But some of the music is definitely not the vibe tonight. For instance, drop the Spotify. I could make a Spotify playlist. Okay, chat. I'm gonna make a Spotify playlist. We'll drop it. And then I need to get your opinions on my Spotify playlist, okay? We're gonna rank it. My requirement for music is the bass is sick. Oh, I have a different Spotify now. Vonyers. We're gonna have a Spotify playlist, but yeah, mine is if the bass is good and the bass is jamming, then I'm good for it. Okay, we'll do one last one. Actually, no. You know what song I want to listen to? Vonyers? Yeah, Vonyers. It's like Yanners. Jabber Jaw cover. Yes, it's the last song, and then I have a song to play. A game to play. It's called Hard Shipbreaker or something, where we're just going to break apart a ship. We're just going to hang out, we're going to chat, okay? I think it's going to be sick. This happened during COVID. We could do this, chat! Get a bunch of VTubers together. This guy, I love this guy. Cartoon Network. That fucking bass. Oh, it's so sexy. Ska has the best bass. Thundercats, Thundercats, ho! That's right, chat. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start a freaking VTuber band. We're gonna get famous, and then all the other VTubers are gonna be like, oh my god, I wish I knew the VTuber band. That's it, chat. That's it. Why am I wearing two shirts? Two shirts. Very, very short shorts. A world tour, but you never have to leave your house. Thundercat. Oh, sorry, different thing. Hi, Kiwi. Okay, so I'm wearing an undershirt, because, I mean, Vanya, you can fix this. You can fix this. if you really wanted to. When's our first band practice? When I finish recording my demo reel for the audio, when I have when I have finished doing a cover, and when I've finished recording some audios and done my D&D planning, because I have to take a month off from D&D to plan out an entire session, because my last session was kind of bad. But I don't know, 2-3 weeks. And we'll do band practice. I do a lot, chat. And then I stream twice a day. I have literally 3 hours. I have 3 hours a day that are open for doing things. Okay. You know what? I got you. And okay, now we're wearing one less shirt. Yeah, we'll rip it a few more times. Shirts are really easy to rip, guys. I don't know what people's problems are. Okay. So, what was I thinking of? Right. So, yeah, I got paid $15 to rip a shirt. I mean, it was a cheap shirt, so I could go rip on pants. It's less price than I paid for the shirt. So it's more price than I paid for the shirt. So, oh, you can always just change shirts. Anyways, what I was gonna say was I have 3 hours a day for myself. That doesn't include cooking meals. I have an hour to cook meals every day. I have 3 hours for just chilling and working on things, and that gets eaten very quickly. It's Saturday and Sunday where I usually have more time. Oh, no, give me a second. I'll get a stronger shirt. I'll be right back. We'll play a song while I'm gone. I need to go grab a stronger shirt. Here's a Scott cover of American Idiot. Okay, see? Here we go. You ready? Okay, quiet chat, quiet listen. Wait, let me get a... Okay. You can tell it's higher quality because the sound is lower. I'm just strong. But yeah, the higher the quality of the shirt, the lower the sound is usually because it rips slower. Chat, you were disconnected from the server. Chat, you're reconnected to the server. Hi, guys. Hopefully you're still there. Why did I rip a second one? I did that one for free. Oh, fuck. Okay, well. Now when I get bored, I have a new stim toy. Because honestly, I think it's just one of my favorite stim toys is shirt ripping. God damn it. All right, all right. Come here, chat. I'm just going to walk up here and we're going to grab this and we're going to take this really nice and slow. And there we go. All right. So what were we doing? Right. Hardline Shipbreaker. So there's this game that I've been playing, or I've been looking at, that is a game where you break down ships, all right? Oh, I can also tell, like, I can usually tell what kind of facial expression you're doing based on the sound of your voice. I got really good at reading people. Because so many people will be like, they'll be like, oh yeah, like, they're like, oh, I'm going to get quiet all of a sudden. I'm like, yeah. You're blushing, aren't you? Hello, Astronaut Violet. How you doing? But yeah, so this game, what if I can tell you a facial expression based on the way you sound? Oh, it's easy. Pretty easy. You'll learn how to do it if you practice. Give me some Rippy's Daddy is an insane thing to say, though. Me next. Chat. I'll save all of my inappropriateness for my audios. No, Nix, I can tell. I can tell the difference. And I mean, do I really need to guess with you? If I say, Bunny. Oh, I'm awful with social cues. That's why I learned how to tell expressions from the tone of their voice, because I like voices and I can pay attention to that. But I cannot pay attention to facial expressions or reading that kind of shit. So I tell people's emotions based on how they sound instead of, the words they say or the facial expressions. Oh, what up, twin? Now, twin. Better start nicking in your butt, twin. I did. No way, Nix. I heard it. Brain rotting. Nah, give me some brain rot. What are some brain rot quotes? Let me do it in this voice. Nah, I ain't saying skibbity toilet. Why the hell would I say skibbity toilet out of all the things I could say? All right, hard space shipbreaker. All right. Chat, we're gonna be the number one in this game's category. Yeah, Bigfoot. Nah, we ain't doing. Tralaleo, tralala, tralalelo, tralala. Why are you giving me the worst brain rots out of everything you could be doing? Right? What is it, Nix? Can you say redeem? What about it? Chimpanzee banani? I mean, hey. I also send you the Chinese videos where they're doing Wuhan shit. Well, I don't know how to say it, Ross. Nix, feel free to test the limits, and if it goes too far, then we'll just refund you, okay? Bing chilling. Lao gan ma. What makes me blush? Ooh, good question. I don't know. I do not know. I get the Chinese pass. Hey, yo, does that mean let the Italian in you flow? Come vai, mi amore. Nah, but to be honest, what makes me sorry, I'm struggling to speak here. What makes me blush? Come vai, mi amore? Come vai? How are you, mi amore, my love? And then my response usually is io sono stanco, which means I'm tired. Yes, and it would make every Italian laugh, because every Italian... Hey, yo, girly. Hi, Soul Eater. How you doing? Because stream doesn't feel real. Perché no? Perché? What would make my laugh? Oh, blush. I'm still focusing on the blushing part. Okay. What makes me blush is usually genuine, like people being proud of me, or like random compliments on things I'm not expecting compliments on. Also, certain words and certain voices. Also, weirdly, not my birthday, it's my dad's birthday, but thank you, Big Billy. But also, what does make me blush, for some weird reason, oh, it's your birthday. It's your birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Big Billy. Happy birthday to you. There you go. Thank you for my nice fingernails. What do you mean? Huh? What? What do you mean nice fingernails? I'm so confused. Oh, weird compliments. Sorry. The other thing that really makes me blush, or gets me, is certain things said in a Valley Girl accent, especially disinterest in me. Why? Don't know. It's the one voice. Hey, I have one friend who did the voice, and I'm just like, huh, why do I like this? Oh no, I do like this. Them kids are playing hide and go seek outside. Chat, go find them. First person to find the child wins. Kidnap the child. Take the child hostage. Sell the child. Don't do any of those things. Do not do any of... Where's game capture? Oh my god. Start sticking in your butt, twin. Okay. You ate them, don't eat kids. Kids aren't crazy. Slightly inconvenience the child. Slightly inconvenience the child. Also, Neeks, you should have done the ask a question thing, not the hey baby, hi Drake. Put the child, yes. Put the child in the tree. Hello, Maple Donut. How you doing? What's up, little Maple? You give me the vibe of someone who gives amazing hugs. I do give amazing hugs. I do give amazing hugs. I've gotten compliments on my hugs. I've been like, cause there's a certain way you do hugs, okay? Especially if you're taller. It depends on how close you are with the person, okay? If this is a person that you're feeling more close with, you go under their arms, hands around the waist, and pull them close. And you hold them until they let go. Thank you for the stretch, 1 second. If you are kind of more acquaintance with them, you do one arm over, one arm under. So you do one arm like around the left bottom underneath their arm, and one arm over the right over top of their arm. This is going to be more of like a give you a little bit more distance, so they'll feel a little bit more comfortable. And is then, you know, just a better hug. Again, you let go when they are done. And if you have like not any closeness with the person and they're shorter than you, over, so you can just kind of put your hands on the back, not really pulling them into you, and just like a little placement. So it's just a quick little casual hug. I usually go through like the one over, one under. Yes, chat, I've thought about the way I hug, okay? Shush. Vanya's eating so much. What's Vanya doing? Oh, come here, Vanya. I'll hug you. It's funny enough, my dad taught me how to give better hugs as well, and so I'm passing on that knowledge. Hello, Eclipse, welcome. You're new to me. You are new to me. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? Okay. Hugs. High fives. Chat, do you know how to high five properly? You all want to know how to high five properly? Look at the elbow. Look at the elbow. If you look at the elbow, you'll align the arms with each other, and thus you'll hit the high five every time. No, that's smacking them in the ass. Yes. Look at each other's elbow, your high five will meet every time. And you'll get a good clap. Hi, Foxy. I'm doing great. Okay, game time. Sorry. Now that we've talked about how to hug properly and everything. I haven't actually played this game. I've never played this before. Ooh. Okay, we need to play standard. Unlimited lives, we work on the clock. Time is money. Yeah, here we go. Well, okay, if you... Oh, thank you. Oh, my model is used by quite a lot of people. Mine's just a recoloration. It is found on, Booth PM. It's not too expensive, but it has a lot of features. I mean, like, wait, chat. I've shown you all the features, but here, look. I can go, hop. Okay. And I can go, And look. If I do facial expressions, I go. My ears move. I can also go. Isn't it amazing, though? I love all the features. They're so cool. A cat blab, like Gustav. But I'm not a cat, I'm a dog. I mean, I'm not a dog. I'm not a dog, chat, but... And it was cheap. I mean, my God, was it cheap. Not a dog, not a dog. Damn it! I just don't want to be a bat. Technically, it's a wolf, but, you know, I'm also not a wolf. Okay, we're putting in our name. LuckyJene. I'm not an animal at all, I'm just a human. Ring ding 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 ring ding 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 ding. What does the fox say? Yeah, da 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 da. What ears? So you have human ears. Do you see my human ears? I just have people ears. Thank you for the follow, Mute. I can't believe you followed in on me doing Sorry, I got distracted. What does the fox say? Meal preferences. Okay, do we want vegetarian, plastic-free? Wait, what's this? Chat, what kind of food do we want? We can choose chicken, plastic-free, vegetarian, or entomotarian. Oh, it's stop? Not much. Oh, what redeemed you do? Oh, hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh, and the kiss. Mwah. Chicken. Plastic is yummy. Okay, so not plastic free. You don't want the entomotarian? Who knows what that could be? You all want chicken? Okay, fine. Yeah, I don't know what entomotarian is, but look at that little guy. Look at that silly little guy. Shrimp? This one might be shrimp. He does look like a little shrimpy. A shrimp? Do we want shrimp? Are we gonna eat shrimp? Scrimps? Shrimps? Bugs. It's bugs. It's bugs, chat. It's bugs. Do we want to eat bugs? Wait, you're not gonna make me eat bugs, right? Don't you fucking dare. Okay, chicken? No, no. No, but damn it. Yeah, I'll get a head bug. Fine, we'll eat bugs. We'll eat bugs. Okay, I have no criminal record. I'm not a member of, I've never associated with a workers' union. I've completed my annual medical exam. I'll get a head pet redeem eventually. I just, you know, it takes effort and I'm lazy. Bugger. We're not actually gonna eat the bugs, it's fine. Well, you know. Fine. Employee understands that they must travel to Linux Shuttle Hub. Employees should be aware of the status of employment at the end of discretion. The agreement includes... Ants are bad. I drink ants. Skip. Chat, okay, I might be a little bit of a criminal, but you can't judge me too hard for that. Chat, be gay. Do crime. There's bug candy. Chat, should I try bug candy? Oh, Vanya, I will cuddle you eventually, I promise. Mods get free cuddles. Only mods, though. Only mods get free cuddles. Everyone else has to pay.
Each day he steps
Fortnite.
into the yard to earn his wages working hard. I pray to the stars and heaven above.
Don't pull Fortnite.
Those he loves.
Kiss for chat. Mwah.
If there comes a time
Chat, I'll get a body pillow, okay?
bless the next cutter that takes his seat.
I'll get one of those body pillow covers. Here's the plan, chat. Here's the plan. When I do a fundraiser to to get my new model eventually, because you know this is a pre-made model, I will have that as a potential unlock, is body pillow.
Please observe this important message. Space, boundless promise,
Why is this over for me?
limitless resources, a brighter future.
Mm-hmm.
It's here where hard workers like you, the backbone.
Maybe I'll do a GoFundMe. Fund the VTuber on GoFundMe. And if you do fund a certain level, the body pillow gets shipped to you.
President of Lynx Corporation's Salvage Division. When my great-great-grandfather Exeter founded Lynx, he foresaw a remarkable opportunity among the stars. His vision eventually brought us the railgates. Now spanning all the way to Jupiter, these are the veins connecting all of modern civilization. And the people flowing through them are its lifeblood. The railgates reinvigorated humanity and are key to our continued progress. You've been selected from among thousands of candidates to join the Lynx family.
Moreau, get the fuck out of bed and go brush your teeth.
It's an
And then you're allowed to come back.
to be part of the
But if you don't get up,
most
I'm gonna kick you out of stream.
successful pioneering company in human history. Your dream may be to forge your own destiny one day. Well, work hard. Heed
Why?
your superiors.
They said I need someone to kick me out of bed.
Vision. Do this,
Good, Moreau.
and you too will get your chance. Your first step is to join our Ever Work program. The greatest
Proud of you.
gift we give our employees, turning death into an ongoing opportunity for learning and growth.
You're gonna make me cry? I'm already crying.
Fresh start. Good
It's true.
luck.
Oh shit, they made me immortal. Hell yeah. Woo. Yes, I want a fresh start.
Video observation complete. To finalize onboarding, your genetic sequence
I'm not
will now be
stinky.
extracted for use with
Come here,
links
come here. You know what?
that are
Come here.
asset replacement program. Don't worry.
Smelly.
As outlined in section
All of you
31
smelly.
your
Maple
employment
smells good, but everybody else stinky.
process of genetic extraction will
Somebody go
destroy your
DM
original
Little
body.
Angel and know that. Tell them they also smell.
Extraction now.
Neeks, stinkiest. Neeks is stinkiest.
Extraction analysis backup.
I'm sorry, Eclipse. Maybe you should have shared before you came to stream. Jeez. Maple smells like maple. Neeks smells so strong that I could smell them over everybody else. That's right, chat. I smell all of you at once. And I have smell-o-vision. Should showered. Oh, look how much money we owe. Yay! We owe. The displays of the fees report cost $7. And the administration fee was $5. It cost them $7.50 to show me this. Okay, that's fine. Neeks smells like peach rings, but also of body odor. So, you know. Yes, I've made worse impressions. Okay. What number is this? 1,200,000,000 no. 100,000 million. 1,252,594,441.92. Luggage handling, including gratuity. They charged me for handling the luggage at $212,000 to handle my luggage, and 32 cents. That's insane. Wow. What, should I put Gene down? The fuck do you mean put Gene down? His aura. My aura be primal smelling. I got that alpha musk.
All right, breathe. Everything's just fine. There you go.
Vanya, I smell that omega smell.
With the first spare. Anyway, welcome aboard. The name's Weaver. I'm the foreman for yourself and a couple of other shipbreakers in this region. This here's Morrigan Station. She may not look like much right now, but once we boot her up, she'll purr like a
You let me know what? Chat, are you an alpha, a beta, or an omega?
orientation control.
I don't know what that really means, but you know.
Look up at that cargo elevator up above.
There's no way you're not an omega. You're a beta? I knew it, Neeks. I knew it.
That's it. So that's where
I'm a Sigma.
selected to be picked up by the transport.
Sigma nut.
Just in case you ever turn yourself out of whack, use your roll thrusters to reorient.
Oh, shit. Okay, that's cool. Oh, chat, if you get sync. So Omegaverse is a thing. Yeah. Oh, roll for 1 second.
All right. Now let's
Oh, I'm dizzy. I am dizzy, chat. Oh. Oh, by the way, don't forget this Saturday we are doing the Oh, that is trippy. Oh, ooh. You want me to spin again?
now vertical control.
Here we go. Okay. Oh, my stomach. Hmm. Oh wait, how do we? That's ascend, descend. There we go.
Looks good. Now, to finalize these movement checks, I need you to fly to these waypoints.
All right. How do I break? Okay, cool. There we go. Blue Jean. Don't you dare call me Blue Jean. Let's watch Gene throw up on stream. Chat, this would be funny to do a drinking stream with this game. We'll do a drinking contest. You know what we should do, chat? Okay, I'm going to play this game. We're going to do a Q&A, and if ever I choose to not answer a question, I have to drink. And we play this game while I'm doing it.
Breaks. Get yourself going at a decent clip.
Would you all have like questions you want to ask me? I could do. We can post a form up on Twitter, and you can ask any questions.
Looks like the bay here was left in a bit of a mess.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Clean this crap up.
After, so we'll do it as our next event because we're doing the next event for our 800 follower stream and we already hit 900. So let me not set myself on fire.
Furnaces are used to melt down soft metals.
Okay,
Should go without saying. These things are
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
So, try not to drift into them by accident.
Okay, I'm looking at the furnace.
Okay. Let's get a handle on your grapple.
Do I still want the MPreg emote at 1K? Yes. If we hit 1K follows, I will do the MPreg emote.
How we move salvage around. Activate the beam and hold it.
Mm.
Grab an object to move it around. If it's not too heavy. Give it a go. Move one of these pieces.
There's no way we're what do you mean we're 64 away?
When you're holding an object with the grapple.
Wait, how many followers do we have so far?
This will pull a light object to you. If it's heavier than you, it'll pull you towards it. Check out your HUD when you've got an object grappled. It shows you the mass of the object and whether you can move it or not.
Okay. And
Nice job cleaning up that soft metal scrap cutter. Let's move on to the bigger nano card.
936, that's insane. Y'all know we've been streaming for less than 3 weeks, right?
Grapple. I'm enabling your scanner so we can check out their structural makeup. Go ahead and boot it up.
That'd be insane.
This mode of your scanner lets you assess an object's structure. What I want
Yeah, we've gained like 300 followers in the 3 weeks.
All right. Controls give me a go-ahead.
W growth, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. Cut point, yeah, I'm viewing it. Wait, what am I supposed to be doing? I wasn't paying attention, chat.
You got
There we go.
access to all your tools through
Am I entertaining?
Just open up your tool
Chat, do you have fun here? I worry about you. Sometimes I'm like, that chat's just here because they think I'm pretty. Equip the cutter.
Your cutting tool has two modes. The first one is the
You know.
snap. It's designed for precision vaporization of cut points like this.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to perform zero-G surgery, Cutter? Well, let's
Well, good, I'm glad. We're here only to bully you, that's fair.
That's how you do it. Okay.
Oh.
Let me boot up the processors.
Well, I just gotta make sure, you know, I worry.
Do me a favor. Look on over at one of them there. Yeah, so I can see if they activate right. Yeah, perfect. Wish me luck, Cutter. Me and technology. Always.
I just oversee the unhinged shit in chat. That's fair, Batosai.
All right. We're in business.
I'm glad.
Swap over to your
I'm having a good time.
Toss one of those pieces you separated right in there.
Okay, we're gonna swap to the grapple. You making tacos? I want tacos. Okay, come on. Come on. Oh, shit. It's still heavy. Wait. I like that. I'm glad I'm a nice little thing at the end of your shift. And then we do... Come on. Get in the salvage. Get in the salvage. Ah, damn it. Ugh. There it goes. There it goes. Look at it. Look at it go. Look at it go. I think we got it. You all want to vote? You know what? I'll have a contest. I'll have a contest. Who gets to be the father of my baby?
Well, okay.
What did you remember, Gift? Oh, Gift. Yeah, you still need to tell me your ideas for stream. What are your stream ideas?
Over there. Now, this beast is way too heavy to move as is. Also, chance for your stinger to break it down. And there are no structural cut points for us to
Oh, that's so cool. We can just use momentum.
switch over to the split saw.
And if the momentum works right, come on.
Slicing this thing
Come on. Come on.
Go ahead and switch cut bones.
Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Come on, get in there. Ah. Yay. Where there's a will, there's a way. No, 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 no Big Macs. No Big Macs for the child. I will not have a child fed on Big Macs, okay?
Now try changing the angle of the cut. We're in business. I've unlocked the trigger on your cutting tool. It'll split that big chunk clean in two. Go ahead and give her a whirl.
Okay.
Turn on your salvage indicator so you can track how much work there is left to do. This thing will track how much you salvaged and how much you
Hey, thank you for the gifted subs. What the fuck?
hit that first goal marker.
Who just gifted subs? Who gifted 10 subs? Thank you, Silas. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it so very much. Look at everybody getting subs. Thank you. All right, let's go put this stuff in the furnace. Come on. W, Silas. Top tier, Silas. No, 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 come back, come back. All right, here we go. We're just gonna... Ow. Don't go into the furnace. Don't go into the furnace. Don't go into the furnace. No, chat. No, 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 no. No!
Shift halted. Higher work rates may be required to offset unscheduled personal
All right. Breathe. You okay? Got yourself good there.
Thank you so much for the bits. Thank you, 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 thank you. I really appreciate it. I didn't mean to do that.
Always good to review your spare replacement form.
Heavily community-based, like maybe spooky stories made by us and you read them on stream. Could do something like a music battle. What's a music battle?
Up the debt, and that's how they get you.
It would be cool.
Okay. Let's get back to work. We
Okay. We have more work, so we're going to be scrapping some stuff here. I think these are the things we can scrap. Oh, no. There's the stuff we're scrapping. Okay. Yeah, what are you? What are you then, Vanya? What are you then, Vanya? We're going to make these smaller to make this a little bit easier. And there we go. I said not to do the extra crazy thing. What would the extra crazy thing be? We're gonna enroll in Hustler University? How about we don't enroll in Hustler University? Oh, why won't they accept my deposit? Wait. What's the difference? got this. I got this. There we go.
Material deposited.
There we go. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. But yes, what would music battle be? Kind of explain that one more to me. I'm interested in that. But I do think it'd be a really cool idea. We could do like a story contest where chat. Oh, what are we missing here? Chat could write stories, and I do readings of the stories. I think it'd be really, really cool. Diva is a female version of a hustler, of a hustler, of a hustler.
Material accepted. Credits transferred.
I kind of sound like that guy actually sang it. Thank you. Okay, what are we missing? Oh, there it is. Driving in my car. Ah, shit! Shit! No! Go back! There we go. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah! That should do it. And do we make it? Do we make it? Do we make it? Come on, come on, come on, you can do it, come on. Oh, that'd be fun. I think it'd be fun. That'd be fun to just do it. Oh!
Great first shift in the yard, Cutter. Let's head on over to your hab and I'll show you the ropes there.
Anyway, sorry, that'd be fun just to, God, into the Discord. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out.
Head on in.
Okay, I'm having trouble speaking while I'm trying to fly. No, don't lose, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. Go back, go back, go back. Ow.
Helmet damage detected. Avoid severe head trauma by following good helmet maintenance.
Wait, what's the crazy thing? What's the crazy thing? All the single jeans, 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 and put your jean up. Oh, 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 oh. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. Subnautica lawsuit? No! What is a Subnautica lawsuit? Oh yeah! Wait a second, I do know about the Subnautica lawsuit. That one is insane.
Certification level achieved. License upgraded.
3, 2, 1. Don't spread hole! Two. What are we watching? What are we waiting for? No spreading hole. Spreading hole is illegal. It's a crime, chat. Don't spread hole. Try finger butthole. We're not playing that game. Spread firmly. Grasp and spread. 1. What's happening? Kills me. He just kills me. He just murders me. I just get shot in the back. Wait, he goes whoosh. Oh wait, I need that 1 second. Oh shit, I can't do it. Oh wait. He just goes. Whoosh. I'm gone, chat. I died. Chat, I died! Gone now. I'm back. Okay, don't worry about it. You just whoosh. Oh, fuck. Help! Oof. Oh, I only went partially off the screen. Whoop. 5,000 bits, you motherfucker. Damn, Silas. Damn, Silas. Damn, Silas. Thank you, Silas. I don't know what all that's for, but thank you. 5,000 bits is insane. Thank you so very much. I owe him a shirt. Oh, fine. I owe you a shirt. I can also owe you a shirt. Give me a second. All right. Hunk Silas is showing money again. Oh, there's a little bit. There. Now I have no shirts. Okay. I hope you're. Hi, Pinky. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you. I need to put a new shirt on. What's that for? I just got 5,000. No, I'm not. No, that's my Tosai. Down, boy. Thank you. What the fuck? What? Oh, fuck. Yeah. What the what is this? A fucking level 5 hype train. Are you kidding me? No shirts allowed. No pants allowed either, apparently. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh, fuck. Well, I can't tear my pants. I cannot tear my pants. I need those. I have a requirement. I will be wearing. I'm a good boy, though. I'm a good boy. I will wear pants. I will figure out a way to pay you all back. I don't know what you want, but thank you, Silas, and thank you, Vanya, for the fucking... What is that? 10,000 biddies combined? 10,000 biddies. Jesus. Hi, Queen. How you doing? Welcome. Oh, you think we know what we want? I mean, I think we know what they want. That's insane. That is insane. Well, you know, I appreciate it. Devil cast tear left sock apart. You want me to go get a sock to tear apart? I'm not wearing a sock, but I will rip a sock if that's what you really want. Okay, we gotta. I'm still rip shirt. I mean, like, I feel like I kind of have to nonstop rip shirt now. I really appreciate it, guys. I do really appreciate it. I promise I will do something of value with that. Can I Vanya, down Vanya, behave yourself. Close it. What are your thoughts on wearing socks to sleep? Itchy feet. That's fine though. I mean, you can wear whatever you want to sleep. I'll get some snackies. Oh, chat, we got our bug gruel. Yay, yummy. Live, laugh, salvage. Okay. Oh. Home decor. I love these signs. Some biddies for Jean's titties. Hello, Hikaru. How you doing? Oh God, I'm coming down. That was amazing. I really appreciate it.
Welcome to your new home, Cutter. Has everything you need. This is officially called a ready-made long-term employee habitation. Something. Around here, we call it your hab. Now, how's about
you got this, Moreau. I believe in you, Moreau.
up your training in the morning? Sleep tight there, Cutter.
Chat, it's a dog paw. Kiss for chat. Give me a cookie. Mwah. You wear socks to bed? You would, gangsta. You two can both own me. You can share.
Your allocated shift time will be commencing shortly.
Okay, okay.
Rise and shine, Cutter. Hope you feel well rested.
My dog.
Ready to continue your training?
Have you got the free tool of the dragon? I have not gotten the free tool of the dragon.
Now,
Oh, is it a bad dragon?
certification. I've sent you a message with an explanation. Go on and give it a read.
Dragging these nuts. God damn it! Hi, Cookie. I should have seen that coming.
Clear as mud? Don't worry. I'm here to walk you through the process. Soon enough, I'll introduce you to some of the other shipbreakers. Most of them are willing to help you out, too.
God damn it. God damn it.
Start a new shift and pick your first shift to work on.
Oh, what are we doing? All right. I'm so excited. Dragon, come back.
Ships you have access to.
Bum-ba-dum-bum, bum-bum.
To continue working on the ship you got, or start a fresh one. Claim one, and we'll get to work.
Okay, chat. Which ship do you want? The Triton, the Swift Uranus? The Swift Uranus. Oh, thank you all for the hype train. Thank you for the follow, Vampire Diaries. Dairy, sorry, Vampire Diaries. Vampire Diaries? Hi. Anyways, hello, Vamp. How you doing? we're getting the Swift Uranus. Your Swift anus right now, chat.
All yours, Cutter. Your primary goal is to reach rank 3. Now try to remember, nanocarbon goes in the
Easy anus win. Easy anus win. It's true.
goes in the furnace. Try to salvage these
Close hole.
We call it using the whole buffalo. You'll hit your certs faster that way and start knocking out that debt of yours. I'll be observing and giving you any help if you need it.
All right, we got to figure out how to get in here.
Weaver out.
Let's get something nice going here. Interesting. That's not gonna work. Can we just maybe pull it off? No, that's not gonna work. Okay. I gotta figure this one out, chat. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle to figure out where to cut it. Aha! Here we go. We're gonna start with the ship thruster here. There's too many holes in this chat. It's true. It's true. There's some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house. I mean, 7 days a week. Certified freak. Wait. Ah, there we go. I got my booty on Twitch before my face. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I think the thruster should go processor. Okay, and that is the salvage, and that is the processor. Okay. Perfect. We're learning, chat. Food is life. Food is life. Get in there. Do we do it right? I'm just trying to make sure.
Processing valuable.
Yes!
Credits transferred.
Amazing. Okay. And I think that's going to open up the ass of the ship that we can go inside and start cutting it apart. This is so cool. I don't know what it is. This is kind of like, it's kind of silly. Ow. But I like this. I like this a lot. And see, now we can see where we break it open. Yeah, we're gonna make a mess of the insides. It's just gonna make some pretty little mess of the insides. Oh, God damn, close them! Close them! We just remove the structural integrity here.
I know these ships look intimidating to scrap at first.
Okay.
Soon enough, you'll be stripping the huge gecko-class freighters like drop my start, salvaging back down Earthside. In
Our holes are yours. Here I am being goofy, enjoying cutting this up, and y'all being naughty.
One of them kinds with synthetic skin and everything. We almost never saw people looking ones like that.
Oh, here we
They're
go.
always too expensive to manufacture. Seems someone found a warehouse full of them, mothballed for.
Here we go. Here we go. This is what we're looking for.
Since the AI ban took effect,
AI ban.
a whole lot of pennies, thinking they could turn a tidy profit with the salvage. No word of a lie. These things looked exactly like my stepbrother did. Even had the same slack-jawed expression. Now, Jed and I wasn't exactly pals or nothing.
Okay.
All the same, I couldn't bring myself
Cut level 3, so we can't cut through that yet.
And that's when I looked into getting
Interesting.
all the links.
Like VTuber, like chat. Yeah, I like my chat though. They're a bunch of cuties.
I'm running on. I'll clear the channel. Holler if there's anything giving you grief up there, Cutter. Weaver out.
All right, we got to be a little bit safer here with this one. I don't know. Vanya just does that sometimes. I think it was mostly just because they saw me ripping things. Oh, hey, we got a panel. Oh, that's how we do it. Okay, okay. So we're going to go through and we're just going to cut off all the panels here. So if we rip these off. Oh, hey. There it goes. So we should be able to just, you know. And then. I got to. Trimmer redeems. Praise me, Maple! Maple. Sweetie. You seem like you're absolutely wonderful. You bring in such an adorable energy into this chat. And I just appreciate you for coming here. You're wonderful. You're cute. And I think you're going to be a lovely addition to this community. Just know that I really appreciate you, okay? And I hope I get the chance to know you a little bit better. I do love money. What do you want me to do with money? Sorry. What do you want me to do for money? What am I doing for money, chat? All right, we're going to start. What? Nothing. Okay, gonna deposit salvage right there. Come on, baby. No, lower. That should do it. Come on, baby. There it goes. Easy. Fine. Fine. Spreads whole. There you go. I said it. And there's the other panel. Manova and Touchy Toes. And that should do it. Come on. Chat, I have a question. What's the question, Gift?
Processing object. Applying credits to account.
This is so chill. Bouncing like you're bouncing on your bed like an excited dog. Adorable. Oh shit, we don't want to burn that part. Just the cutter points. Okay, we should have a few more points here. Ah, there it is. And there's one there. What kind of... Whoa. Okay, if you were a stripper, what would you name yourself? It comes up every 5 minutes. Don't you worry. Oh. You name yourself Toxic? Pinky Slut? Pinky Slut. Ruby Red. Candy lick 'em low. Candy lick 'em low is wild. The music is turning up. Hey, Wildkitten, how you doing? Wildkitten, we're talking about stripper names. Oh, ooh, that's, ooh, stop moving, ah! Can I move that? Let's see if we can just... I want to see if I can get this in there. Come on, come on. There it goes. Ugh. No. Hit. Get in there, 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 get in there. No, I missed. Okay, well, it's gone. Candy Rose. Candy Rose is so good. Oh, Candy Rose is so good. That one wins. Hello, sweet angel. Oh, you're saying hello to you're not saying hello to me. I see how it is. Come on. And in it goes. Ooh. Hi, thank you, Silas. Thank you for saying hello to me. Ruby red? Because I'm red, obviously. Lusty Stefina. I don't fucking know. I want to use a stripper generator. Devil, put that away. Put that weapon away. Put that weapon away! No, but I might die at red. Thank you for the follow, a quack. How you doing? Welcome. Hoi hoi. We're talking about stripper names. What would your stripper name be? Don't go in. Magical Misty. Ooh, that one's good. You love my voice? I like my voice too, but I'm glad you like it. You know what, chat? Maple Glaze? That's not a stripper name. That's a street walking name. But yeah, chat, no, you know what? For 900 subs, fuck it, I'll dye my hair red. Not subs, not 900 subs. Of course I'm obsessed with myself. I like my voice. You know, if you got it, flaunt it. A quack? What do people call you normally? Oh, chat, we're doing a stripper name generator. Give me a second. Okay, we're gonna do this. Gender, male. Viper Sizzle, Blaze Starlight, or Blaze Mystique. Blaze Mystique. A cock or a quack? Oh, no, you're definitely a quack. Yeah, you're a quack. I'm about to say your name wrong after I just said your name right. Oh, jeez. Scarlet Savior. Oh, Scarlet Savior's nice. I like that. Good choice. Come on. Oh, come on. No, go into the void. Just freeze. All right, we did it. We're fine. Chat's cool today. I like chat today. Chat, ask me more questions. We need more. We need more stupid questions. Blaze hole. Blaze hole. Yes, Vanya. Every time they say your name, they start stripping. Where'd the ship go? Chat, where's the ship? Oh, there it is. Silas, it's wild. And 3, 2, 1. Come on, baby girl, get in there. Lower. And thank you for the stretch. 1 second, we're just gonna. Thank you. You're melting. Don't melt. Do not melt. Melting is illegal. Melting is a crime. Come on, get in there. Oh, come on. Brother, why is this one so hard? Why is it so hard, chat? What would be your signature stripper move? I would grab both arms around the pole, cross my legs, make myself as small as possible, and just spin on the pole. Have you seen the socially awkward stripper? Like, just like that. Oh, God. Wait, what I just heard? Socially awkward stripper? There we go. Cutter. Easy. That should do it, right? Let's see. I'm so confused. What did I just cut? What did I cut? Wait, chat, I'm confused. Did I not just... Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Is it still attached, or are we good? Oh, hey, thank you for the follow. 940, Jesus, that's insane. Abby Davry, epic VTuber fan. Hello, Abby Davry, epic VTuber fan. Wait, I got this. Hello, Abby Davy, epic VTuber fan. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? What's up? I like your name. It's epic. Not Electrope. Don't you be bringing Electrope back. No, Electrope has many uses. Come and see. Stop it. Hello, Willow of Whispers. I like your name too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Willow Whispers. How are you? Gene Boo Boo, we're not welcoming to the cum zone. We're not welcoming to the cum zone. That's not what's Electrope? Electrope, come and see. How am I doing? I'm doing good. I'm actually having a really good time just putting together ships and just hanging out. This is the new... Fuck. Don't die. Don't die. No, don't kill me. 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 Don't kill. Oh, thank God. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Oh. Okay. We're okay. Hi. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I did not almost kill myself there. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Easy. We're doing great. Great models. Well, thank you. Oh, you haven't seen all the stuff. You're new here. Would you like to see the things? Do you want to see the things? You want to see the things I can do? I don't have everything on it, but I can show you the things. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. So, aha. We're doing the things. First up, I can do this. Okay. Fine. We can also do wait. I need to see the model. Hello, model. Okay, whatever this is, I can go sad and I go. What's this button here? We have hard eyes, of course. A little blush. Hi, chat. Love to see you. And a lot of other things I don't have assigned right now, but I can also go night mode. Oh, and I can change color. But yes. All right. The black one's nice. What were we doing? Oh, right, taking apart the ship. The black and the teal. I know, right? Okay, we gotta take this apart. So it looks like we can cut apart pretty much all of this here. So I might just start with... Oh, is that already dissected? Hey, look at that. Okay. Gene, save you. I refuse. I mean, sure, how can I help? But I love this model so much. It makes me very, very happy having such a fucking cool model. Yeah. Oh, you've probably seen this model. You ready? You ready? Not this mode. That mode. This is the default look of the model. It's not too expensive. It's a good price model. But I like the color difference. There's a few people who have the model. Some people have the generic one. But one day I will get a fully custom model. Oh, don't kill me. Sorry. Come on. Come on. Get in there, big boy. Awuga respectively. Wait, only when I have the black and white hair you awuga? Or the black hair? Does the black hair also get awugas? Because we'll go black mode. We'll go dark mode today. I guess I need to make that a redeem, don't I? Oh, good night, Black. I hope you're doing better. Come on, come on. In you go. There it goes. We'll do dark mode today. Hello, hello. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, wait a second. Can I take this apart properly? Hey, and thank you for the follow. Your laces are officially popped. I don't know what that means. There we go. Oh, hi. I go by he, they. Chat, what pronouns do you use? We got a pronoun check. Meow purr, meow purr. Any. Good choices, good choices. Me, she, her. She shopping trolley, according to my friends. They, them. Yeah, I like they, them. She, they. To be fair, I like all pronouns. I don't know why I'm like, I like that pronoun. I'm glad y'all have the pronouns you prefer. Don't pick a bad pronoun, chat. Your baby girl, aka she, her, him, stupid. True. Him, Bo. That is my pronouns. No, but I go by he, they. All right, come on. Let's get a right angle here. Wow. Ah. Okay, chat. Here we go. Come on, we got this. In the hole it goes. She, her. Haunts. And I think the rest here can go into the same place. I mean, we'll cut this last cut right here. Oh, there's one last panel I didn't notice. Whoops. Nice. All right. Thank you for the follow, Satan Ixie. Satanixie. Or was it just Satan Ixie? Or Sata Nixie. Those are some cute emotes. Oh man, I'm so bad at crochet because of that very reason. I try to get good at it. Sacrifice your soul and spirit for the well-being of the hunt so they will win all races. I thought no scrum. I don't want no scrum. Scrum is a guy who can't get no love from me. I don't want no scrum, but scrum is a guy who can't get no love from me. Oh, I hate that. I hate when you realize that you miscounted like a while ago. All right. So I think now we're going to actually have to do some real cuts here. Let's see. Oh, engine. Compartment. Yeah, we're just going to do some cuts. Okay. What reference? Go for it. I believe in you. There we go. Let's do some nice little cuts here. Uh-huh. Oh, I lost structural aluminum, apparently. That should do it. Okay, let's see if this will work. Blow me up. Gene, can you humor me for a wee second? Yeah, Gift, what's up? What do you need? Whoop. Wait a second, did I actually... Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. That's working. There's no way that was actually working. Can I just... Oh, it only kind of worked. I need to be like inside of it. I'm waiting, Gift. What's up, Gift? Oh, it's not working. My sweet little star darling. Yeah, what about? Continue. Stop being weird, chat. Stop blowing in holes. Oof. Oh, nice. Oh, you wanted me to call you that. Sorry. Sweet little star, darling. Hello, my sweet little star, darling. Is that what you're wanting?
Raw material deposited.
There we go. I need to figure out how to make this smaller. Oh, here we go, chat. Here's what we need to do. So we're going to just cut this entire thing in half. And then I should be able to somehow get through here. Come on, come on. Fall apart already. Fall apart for me. Break apart for me. Is that gonna do it? Gift, sweetie. Eat everything you want to do. I'm happy to call people any cute things they want me to call them, as long as it's not too offensive. Give Silas a free pass. We're not giving Silas a free pass. I'm trying to be a good boy. Stream needs to be an okay place. We're not. I'm not putting the warnings back on. Yeah, no, I don't have any warnings on stream. So okay, I think we've done enough here, actually. And we'll still try to see if we can hit level 5 on this. So why not, you know? Okay, so that's cut there. We've cut through the middle. I think those are the last two pieces there. Just some blowing. All right. You can say what you want to say this one time. If it's too far, though, understand. Vanya, just get ready with the timeout button in case we need to delete it, okay? I don't know what he's gonna say. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that big old juicy piece. Come on. I have no clue. Get over there. Get in the hole. Come on. We got this. Come on. That'll do it. About nuns would not surprise me. You don't want to get banned. Don't get shut out. Come on, you won't get banned. At worst, you'll get timed out for like a second. So we're gonna delete the message. You've been given permission. Come on. Yeah. Anything left? Oh, those aren't even worth it. There we go. Come on. Yes, we did it. All done. Fuck. No more head trauma. Oh, thank God. Peer pressure. Thank you for the stretch, Willow of Whispers. Willow Whispers, how you doing? I appreciate it. Hi, Leon. How you doing? I'll give Leon a follow. They're a pretty cool streamer. Oh, well, I hope your work's going well. Mwah. 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 Mwah.
Good morning, Shipbreaker. Your data wave levels are high. Please administer 2 caffeine pods before starting your shift.
Looking good,
Right.
Cutter. Now go ahead and pick another ship.
All right, we need to eat some food, chat. Uh-huh. Right. Oh, lame. That's fine though. That wasn't too bad. That wasn't that bad. Not that bad. That was pretty tame. That was pretty tame. Okay, let's see. We have another ship to do. The hardy little galore. Are all these same? I want a different shape. Actually, that one's kind of cool. Chat, we have the hardy little Gallerode. Oh, I got you. That does suck. Northern Hammerhead. Any one of these ships like feeling for you? I kind of want this one. We're doing this one. We're doing the hardy. Vanya, stop it. You should have seen my early logs. You should have seen the old stream. It was awful. No one knows me. I don't want to get... That's fair. That's fair. Aura, put it away. You and your twerking. You guys and your twerking emotes. Okay.
All right.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Because you've increased your rank, we're going to give you the next greatest ship. Now this one will be full of machinery, electronics, furniture, all stuff that Lynx can collect and resell. You're going to want to sell those items on the barge. That's the big green thing below you.
Big green thing. Oh.
Toss any valuable objects or components down there.
Oh.
Don't worry about breaking anything. There's a damper.
Smack my ass like a drum.
Works great. Most of the time.
Rat shaker. Rat shaker. Rat shaker. Somebody write down rat shaker. Somebody write down rat shaker right now. Somebody write down rat shaker. That's one of the games I wanted to play. I want to play rat shaker. I want to play rat shaker. So, thank you. Thank you. Okay, cool. Oh, you bartend. Love it. I remembered rat shaker. That's what happened. Huh? Rat shaker is a game where you shake a rat. Vanya, stop, Vanya. Vanya, behave yourself. Mwah. Shrimpies. What about shrimpies? Do you have a Discord? I do. Exclamation point Discord. We'll take you to my Discord. And thank you for calling me cute. It is true. I am cute. I'm glad somebody appreciates my cuteness here. Oh shoot. Are you still attached somewhere? Ah, there it goes. Okay. Come on, baby girl. Come on. Come on, baby girl. Get in the deposit slot. There it goes. Woo! I'll need some ID first. Everybody up here better be ever close to drinking age. Yeah, well, you can call me cute again. I chat, do you think I'm cute? Do you think I'm adorable? Yeah, we're gonna... No, we're gonna do a different mode. There it is. No. Oh. 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 I want to be cute. Get in there. Come on. Right in there. Sometimes, yeah, that's fair. Y'all make streaming so much fun. I hope you know that. Okay. Do we have any other electronics in here that we can get? I don't know if there's anything else here salvageable. Any? Oh, Blinky. Blinky, sweetie. You're such a good little knight, aren't you? Always such a good little knight. Also, Uwu, thank you so much for the Wadim. I don't know why I still have that one. I'll get rid of it one day. Okay. Oh, that's insane. We're almost 30 years away from 2000. That is insane. Oh. One. And back to back was crazy, beloved. Well, crazy. I was crazy once. They locked me in a room, a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with rats. And the rats made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. They put me in a room, a rubber room with the rats. And the rats, they made me crazy, crazy. I was crazy once. Anyways, that's enough of that. Okay. Good, that's there. Is that enough to move this? No, still need more. Okay. Oh, what is that? I might. I think that would be funny. Did it make it? I think I blew that thing up, whatever it was. Gene redeems. Vanya, sweetie. Vanya. I'll make a head pet redeem. I promise I'll make a head pet redeem. Vanya, darling, lovely, lovely mod. You do know how wonderful you are, right? Like, you have made my streams so much better. You have just made this community a wonderful place to be in, and without you, I definitely wouldn't be doing as well as I currently am. I hope you know that I appreciate you so very, very much. You are incredible, you're lovely, you're kind, you're sweet, you're a good artist. Speaking of, if you see the little guy who dances around, Vani made that. You're just great. I hope you know that. Don't you ever forget that. But yes, Vanya, thank you so much for the redeem. And please, always stay here and be amazing. Of course, of course. I figure a lot of people will use me as their background instead of, you don't have to focus on me or anything. I'm just glad you're only here. Never go bald? I'm gonna get a bald redeem just because you said that. Next model, bald redeem. All right. think. Do we have all the... Okay, there's a few more trusses here. Gotta get behind that wall first, though. Oh, there's a door. Shit. Okay. Give me a second while I try to get past this door. Oh, here we go. Oh, that looks explosive. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Interesting. Okay, we're just gonna... Careful, chat. I've been sending my herbs in the mail. Recently wanted to see if time travel was possible. Oh, I like that. I like that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. That deserves being pinned. Legendary pool. How you doing? Speaking of for all of you new people, hi, my name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, and a flirt. And I hope you all have an amazing time while you're here. Because I know I sure as hell will. Okay, I think it should be this way. Which way are we going? How am I getting this out of here? Okay. I gotta figure out how to get out of this. Gene is a flirt confirmed? Yeah, Gene is a flirt. Okay, we're gonna see if I can kind of right about... here should do. Keep it nice and loose. And we're gonna do a little bit higher up here. Gina's not a dog. Gina's not a dog. But I am a dog. Keep it nice and loose. And... Ah, there we go. We're in, chat. Look at me getting in. Oh, there's so much stuff we can salvage in here. This is great. Okay. I'm a dog. Oh, god damn it. So I didn't even see this one. All right, we're back to this again. Hello, hello. God damn it. If you chatters don't know about this voice yet, this is a southern routine. Happens every once in a while. Don't worry about it too much, all right? You ain't gotta worry a little pretty heads about this one at all. Yeah, some people like it more than others. Some people hate it. Some people are in love with it. Not that I ever really understand. It does go well with the music. You know what? This is who we are. We are the Southern man. Say sweet sassafras. You do enjoy my voice and my model. I'm glad you enjoy both. Sheriff Gene. Sheriff Gene. Hey, yo, chat. Melted? No, darling. What are you melting for? I barely got started. You better hold on longer than that. We don't want you to fall apart already. Wait, no, I'm the sheriff. No, but if he's in there, and I'm out here, but he's out there, but I'm in here, but he's... Wait, I got this. 1 second. We're gonna do the, All right. I'm glad he's frozen in there, and that we're out here, and that he's the sheriff, and that we're frozen out here, and that we're in there. I just remembered we're out here. What I want to know is, where's the caveman? Have you? All right, sorry, let me get a little stretch in here. Thank you for the stretch. Have y'all ever heard that one, though? It's one of my favorites. Here, I'm going to show it to y'all. If I can just find a place to put the audio. There's the audio output capture. That's the wrong audio output capture. Oh, damn it, I lost it, chat. Chat, where'd it go? Where'd my audio capture go, chat? I will do this. You ready? Here it goes.
He's frozen in there, and that am I glad he's frozen in there, and that we're out here, and that he's the sheriff, and that we're frozen out here, and that we're in there, and I just remembered we're out here. What I want to know is where's the caveman?
Anyway. What is the difference between a piano, a tuna, a glue? You can tune a piano, but you can't piano a tuna. Still stuck on the glue, though. I like it. I hope you have a good night. You know, you relax, you take it easy, get some eeps, and I hope you're feeling better soon, all right? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to go back to the red. Red time. Actually, I guess we can do the black, red, black, red. Chat, which one are we doing? We stick with the black today, or do you want to do the red? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a tiger by his toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mother told me to pick the very best one, and you are not it. Black today? Okay, we'll do black today. And I'll make a redeem so we can swap out. You'll make out with me. I mean.
Applying credits to account.
Nah, we'll do black for now. Chat, I lost the ship. There it is. All right, this should be all one thing. Oh, there's light here. Chat, I gotta remove the light. Give me a little second while I just remove this light. I broke the light. No, light's still fine. All right, we're just gonna swap to the... No, give me the light. There it is. Ah, fuck. There it is. Nice. Oh, kisses. Come here. Mwah. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I don't hate you. Why would I ever hate you? I could never hate you. Not a lovely little thing like you, huh? And there we are. Get in there. Oh, I'm worried about this one, chat. I'm afraid this thing's gonna explode on us. How do I get you off of there? How do I get that thing off? You jork it. I jork it. All right, chat, we're jorking it. Chat, together, we're gonna jork it. We got this. Wait a second. I think we saw it. All right, look for the detach. Chat, we succeeded on jorking it. How many hands I gotta use? At least 3. This is a 3-hand job right here, chat. Community jorking. Oh, just straight jorking it. And by it, I mean my penis. Also, do we still got one time on the solo voice? Oh, good. We're done with the voice. Anyways. I think this entire thing is from...
Got that pretty quickly. Now, let me teach you about the kiosk.
Ooh, kiosk.
Once the training wheels come off, Link's regulations mean you gotta cover your own oxygen and fuel costs. That's the way things go. Turning it on now. Now, no need to panic. They'll last you a good while. But if you end up running out, you gotta talk.
How long is stream running? Probably into 6. It's another half an hour. Yeah. What is vibing? What is vibing?
Valuable object accepted for processing.
We ended the normal time. I just started early today, so you know. Wait a second. Oh my god, wait, I got more oxygen. Oh, them oxygen cannons does. God damn, that's amazing. I'm about to bust. I couldn't understand what you were written there. I was surprised by what you wrote. I was trying to understand it. I was not expecting I'm about to bust. That's a little embarrassing.
Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit.
Well, that's what it was. That's what it was written. I was trying to understand it. My favorite comfort food. Ooh, my favorite comfort food. Okay. Do you want my depressing comfort food or do you want my comfort food? And yes, chat, I want to know yours too. Tell me about it. My depressing comfort food? Like, okay. There's 2 kinds of comfort foods for me, right? Why am I doing Southern voice? Sorry. Okay. There's 2 kinds of comfort food for me. There's the kind of comfort food I eat when I'm depressed and I'm like, I want to feel worse. Because, you know how that goes sometimes, right? One sec. Processor. Nanocarbon processor. Okay. And so for that, it is a slice of plastic or American cheese. That is that on white bread, maybe with butter, probably not. That is my depression food I used to eat as a child when I was younger. Not a child, but you know. And oh shit! 1 second, I don't want to blow this up. Okay. There we go. My comfort food is going to be either something sweet. We go something sweet, probably something like, a croissant. Like a chocolate croissant. Savory would be something like... Brötchen. German Brötchen with like, oh, shit. I can take those off. Like a German breakfast would be my comfort thing. So Brötchen with meats, cheeses, German butter, yogurt, that kind of thing. It reminds me of growing up and of home and of family vacations. Happy times. Mm-hmm. It is. All right, what is that? Oh, it's so big. Come on out. Yeah, whenever I go to Germany, I eat way too much food. Oh, like a doner kebab. A doner. A good German doner. 100%. I didn't mean to destroy an airlock. Oh well. That's so many credits we just wasted there. There it goes. Currywurst. Ah. A German doner. I mean, I guess it's technically like a German Turkish doner. Oh, that sounds so good. I love when moms do things like that, you know? Silas, why would you be the hated one? Oh, come here, Silas. Mwah. I also, do you guys want to, so for Halloween, which for October, we're going to be playing a lot of horror games. We'll do one stream will be a horror game, and one stream is going to be like, you know, just chill stuff. I think I also want to watch like some analog horrors, or maybe I'll make an analog horror.
Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
All right, where is the light? So I was just thinking about that.
Salvage registered. Transferring credits.
An idea for what horror games? Not sure yet. I'm not going to be doing Visage. I have played Visage before, and it's just a long game. I do like it a lot, but I might be doing a lot of indie horrors, a lot of shorter horrors. If you have any horror suggestions that you'd like me to play, please let me know. We might do, like, Devotion. I might. We might do a few, like, you know, like, hardcore horror games that are, like, actually scary. And then we might do some, like, shooter horror games to kind of, you know, balance out the season. So people can come in and be chill, but also have some horror. Valorant's a horror game. I'm not playing Valorant. I am not playing Valorant. I don't hate myself. Sorry, chat. I might do... Silence? What's Silence?
Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
Or is it called Silence as the Monster? In Silence. Oh, In Silence. Oh, I've been wanting to play that game for so long. FNAF Marathon. I will do FNAF VR. I will do FNAF VR if I can figure out a way to properly track. With the model and everything. I have the game. I just wanted to play it. It said nobody to play it with. Layers of Fear. Oh, Layers of Fear would be good. That is also on my list. The new one.
Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
The movie. Yeah, you know, I'll do that. I mean, it would be definitely a thing where I would I would only be in game. I wouldn't be external to game. Just to make it, you know, better for my stream. But I think that'd work really well. Layers of Fear. I'll do Layers of Fear. I can definitely do Layers of Fear. I've wanted to do the newer version because I did play the old version a little bit way back when. So, yeah. We'll do a plan though. You know, we'll do a thing where we can all vote on games and pick out my games. Signalis? No, what's that? Yeah, fuck. Come back. Stop spinning. There we go. Have I played Madison? I have not. Top-down sci-fi horror sounds interesting. Mm.
Welcome to Vintatron 9000. Yeah, this is good stuff, Cutter. Pretty easy, right? All right. I'll leave you to it. We'll chat again when you've hit the next rank.
Oh, there's also one game that I want to play where it's like you play a guy, but you're only one arm. It's a shooter game, but you only have the guy. He only has one arm, so he has to crawl along the floor. That one looks interesting. All right, let's see if we can do a little bit of a. Okay, wait. Can I? It's a horror game. No. Finally done with work. Congratulations on being done with work. How was work? I hope you had a good time. Endoparasitic. That might be it. I think that might be it. Yeah. Oh, you smashed your fingers? You poor thing. Are you okay? Why are you barking, Vanya? You ain't even got to really do much to make Vanya bark. They're just like, oh, I'll do it. Woof, 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 woof. Been here for 13 hours. That sounds so awful. Are you okay? Nope, let's not break the chair. Gruff, ruff, ruff. You gotta do your homework. Get your homework done. I believe in you. You got this. Ah, there we go. I think that's moving. Wait, which one's moving? Ah, there it is. Sweet. Okay. I think there's nothing on that for me. We're just gonna... And yeah, perfect.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Do not die, do not die, do not die, do not die, do not die. Oh, I keep doing this. No killing, chat. No killing each other, chat. Don't you dare. Oh, what the fuck did I just do?
Biotelemetry readings flatlining. Please power cycle your sensor array.
I somehow grasp it with my face. I somehow grasped that with my face. What the fuck?
Well, Cutter, I'll say one thing. Certainly ain't afraid of dying.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to try and keep your spares to a minimum if you want to pull yourself out of debt.
Insane. Okay, well. We got to figure out how to disconnect this here. Give me a second. We're just going to look around. What do we got? What do we got? Uh-huh. Aha. Okay, so we have this. We just need to get the cockpit removed. How do I separate this? I don't understand. How am I going to separate this? Oh, wait, I think... Okay, maybe... Hypothetically... Okay, wait, how much is the glass? That's true. That's true. Okay. Well... Spread your level over me. Don't worry about it.
Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying.
Okay, do we have anything else in here? Ah, knew it. And there it is.
Salvage deposit secured. Credits awarded.
Something's still holding this on, isn't it? You know, I'm glad y'all have been able to just chill with me while I play this game, though. I think it's been a lot of fun, just kind of hanging out, having this relaxing game. Are y'all having a good time? I just want to... Hello, Wild Kitten Ray. Welcome back. Are y'all having a chill time? I want to make sure everybody's still, you know, enjoying this and not just, you know... Oh, God, no, come back! Oh, I almost lost you. Did it again! Fuck, fuck, fuck. Save me, save me, save me, save me, save me. No. I can't even get there. I can't steer. Oh, damn it.
Your activity has
It's quite relaxing. Yeah, it's relaxing until that happens. Oh, hi, Wild Kitten. Sweetie, 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 sweetie. Let's start with Kitten. Kitten, you are a lovely, lovely streamer. I've had such an amazing time getting to know you. And I'm loving seeing you more and more around in stream. You've always made friends so very easily, and just the energy you bring here is just so incredible. You're a wonderful content creator. And I love everything you do. You deserve all the praise in the world. And I know whatever you set your mind to, you'll make it. Promise.
Cutter, I'm impressed by your commitment, I really am. But keep an eye on that spare count. Spares are a surefire way of racking up the fees. Real fast.
Alright, we're just going to start depositing these where they need to go. I think we'll finish this ship, and once we're done with this ship, we will be able to end stream. We working it together. Crazy. There it goes. Wait, why are you eating each other? What the fuck is going on? What did I miss? No, not that way. Where was the storage bin in there? Fuck. Oh well.
Salvage goal failed. Rewards dropping.
Yeah, I figure. Well, let's get to 4 and then we're good. The lore of this game is evil. Yeah, I've heard something about it. Like something being like very capitalistic or something. Oh god, no, 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 halla, 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 halla. I almost died. I'm evil. Call that the evil within. How did I lose that one? Oh wait, that's the wrong thing. Come on.
Processing valuable deposit. Credits transferred.
There it goes. Yeah, fuck. Okay, okay. You heard twerking. Why are you twerking? Why are you twerking? Okay, where'd it go? Where'd the piece go? Chat, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Lower it, slow down the speed, and there it goes. Ha! Throw that ass in the circle. That was worth so little. Why did I waste that? Okay. Where are we? Oh, there's the ship. Okay. Anything else we can throw away? I think everything else. Ugh, nope. Not gonna make that mistake again. Alright, we'll take off the last bits of this. Gene's a big fat hater. Why am I a hater? I didn't mean to throw that away. I didn't mean to throw that away. You know, I think we have enough stuff. All right, everybody. I think we're coming up on the end of stream here, so we're going to find somebody to raid into. Throw that ass in a circle. Throw that ass in the circumference of a sphere with rotation. It's the best I can do. Pinky, is Pinky streaming? Well, let me take a look to see everybody who's streaming right now. You're going to go to sleep? Oh, well, you know, you enjoy your sleep. Thank you for the follow, Lucien Volkov. How you doing, Lucien? Mwah, mwah, mwah. Ah, this was fun. I think this is definitely going to be our, like, if we're just going to hang out. Oh, and thank you, Cat the Decimator. Thank you for the follow. I think this is going to be our go-to game when we're just going to try to vibe out for a while. So this will be a reoccurring one, okay? When I just want to do just chatting. Okay, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Keeper streaming Resident Evil. Think he's doing that. I don't like sending into big collabs, so we're not going to send you over there. That's a big collab too. Lulu the Loop, that's a collab. Everybody doing collabs? Yeah, I think Pinky is our best choice right now. Let's go send you in a Pinky, okay? You all say hi to Pinky for me. Be lovely, be nice, be amazing. And I can't wait to be back here tomorrow. I will see you all tomorrow, bright and early, 5:30 a.m. for something. What's up, Neeks? What's our ROS? What's our ROS? Redeem. Oh, first off, Ross. Ross. Oh, you're such a bad girl, aren't you? Always such a bad girl. There's that redeem. And Aura. I have yet to hear your music, but I hear it's amazing. And you are just so incredible, Aura. I have loved getting to have you in this community, slowly getting to know you. And you are funny, you're goofy, and you're fun to have around. Mwah. Thank you, Aura. We're gonna raid Pinky Cafe, and we're gonna do a little Hunts raid. Hunts raid. Alright, chat, copy that raid message. And I will be back here tomorrow at 3:30 MST. Okay? And for now, goodbye, you lovely, lovely, lovelies. You have a good one. Mwah.